Hey guys, welcome to episode 28 of Takes for Obvious Bozos. Andrew, joining me as always, is the one, the only, I'm assuming the only, right?
Actually,
Zach
no.
Black?
There's like a famous college baseball pitcher that has the same exact name and spelling as me. It's
Oh, that's
unfortunate.
upsetting.
Yeah. So if you Google my name, that's what comes up first. But
Yeah,
I'm working to change that.
my name is very common if you actually,
That's true. Yeah. Probably
like
more
I have a
common than
very
mine.
common name, so I'm very hard to find on the internet, which is a very good thing. So,
There are two of me, and I think it's pretty easy to distinguish which one's like the pitcher versus the guy who does not do anything athletic at all. So
no, this is athletic. This is an athletic thing that we're doing right now.
no.
It's mental athleticism
Yeah,
that
mental
we're
athleticism. Okay.
that we're doing. But guys, just so you know, the biggest betting weekend of the year is finally here, even though you're going to be listening to this after the betting after the betting weekend, which means more up-to-date odds and props on this upcoming Super Sunday for the big game. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. We have hundreds of prop bets, MVP odds, and exclusive in-game live betting. Bet Online is your unlimited game day companion. So, if you want to know, I'm assuming coin toss is a big one. Um, Halftime. There's definitely going to be halftime props,
A personal
halftime show
favorite.
props.
Personal favorite is the national anthem length. I always go over the Super Bowl national anthem length.
Oh, that's you heard it here, folks.
Yep.
Even though it's going to be
Yeah.
afterwards, go
Yeah.
go over on that. Where am I? Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline offers you everything and more to enhance your game experience. Visit the website today and make game the day action. Make game. Does that say make game the day action count a little more? I don't think they wrote that correctly. BetOnline, the game starts here. And of course, this is the Patreon podcast for the Strickland. If you go to patreon.com/Strickland, you will see all our different tiers. The $6 tier gets you the full episode of this, Friday episodes of Pod Strickland, access to the Discord to allow you to talk with all of us in the community about a wide variety of different things, mainly basketball. There's, football, baseball, all those sort of things. $9 tier gets you, I believe, the Strictly NFL pod with Con and Company. Is that one also the Schwinn and roll? What's Schwinn's
Stricken roll.
the Stricken roll?
Yes,
I feel like the
that is
Schwinn and roll is a little better.
that. We should propose a rename, but that is the $9 tier. Just to
That's
be
the
sure.
$9 tier. Okay,
Yeah.
then you also get exclusive articles from Matthew Miranda and so forth. So patreon.com/Strickland or the strict.land and then the giant banner at the top of the ad. So and then follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky. I guess we're on TikTok.
We are.
And I'm not going to recommend you the other place.
Yeah. Although we are there.
We're there, but like we're trying not to.
Yeah.
Isn't it just really upsetting? Just like there was such an infrastructure that was built from the beginning of like a larger basketball community.
Yes.
It is completely tore down, and everyone is just kind of like fractured, right? Like it just
the
sucks.
sad thing is that like the core functions are still there. Like the functions that built it are still there. Like the foundation is still laid, but everything that was built on top of the foundation has just been stripped down and torn apart. And
it really is. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we're there still. But no, just definitely do Blue Sky and so forth, all that sort of stuff. So all right. So we have some trade deadline takes, and they're of course associated with obviously the biggest news that shocked the world almost.
Dude, I had people texting me that never texted me before. People talk basketball that's never talked basketball before.
Yeah, like this is like everyone knows the trade. We don't even need to everyone knows the trade. Where were you when it happened?
I was right here where I'm recording in this very chair. This Knicks had just beat the Lakers. I'm sorry, the Lakers had just beat the Knicks, unfortunately, at the Garden.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I was loading up Fortnite, getting ready to play some Fortnite. Have a nice little Saturday night. Take the edge off of the loss to the Lakers.
That was an annoying game.
I actually was fortunate enough to be on my phone when the notification hit. Like, it wasn't like I was a minute late or 2 minutes late or 5 minutes late.
You were there.
I was like actively on my phone when the notification came from the top of the screen, and I thought I had the same reaction as everybody. I thought it was a hack. Thought it was something, but I kind of realized that the tweet was too perfectly written to be a hack. It was so perfectly Shams written that I was like, this is real, man. This is real. And then the minute he kind of put a second tweet up, or I think ESPN retweeted him, or there was another account that kind of chimed in, and I'm this is it, man. This is happening. So
I was across the pond.
You were across the pond, yes.
So I woke up to it, right? Because it happened. So the middle of our night, which is normal people time.
Yeah.
It's basically, there's only the East Coast time is normal time, and then everyone else is in
some whack thing. This is the only time zone that matters, bro.
The only time zone is Eastern Standard Time, right? Yeah. So it happened Eastern Standard Time at night. So that means I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm knocked out.
It's a 6-hour difference. So it was what must have been 6 a.m. or 6:15 a.m. or something like that when it came in for you.
It could have been. It was something along those lines. Yeah. It was something bizarre like that. So I wake up, and of course I'm oh no, I gotta check the Knicks score, right? Because they played the Lakers. I gotta potentially see that type of stuff. And of course it's Luka, especially in our Discord. And I'm like, what are we talking about Luka for? Because I'm very confused. Because I wake up, it's I need to go get my espresso and all that sort of stuff. And that's how I discovered it. I'm just it's what? And then I turned to my wife. I was like, Luka Doncic is traded. And she's just I don't care.
She's like, who's that? Yeah.
No, she knows Luke. She knows
okay.
There are certain names that she knows. She knows Luka. Yeah. She knows LeBron. She knows Steph. She knows Anthony Davis. She knows all the Knicks because she'll even know Ariel Hukporty, right?
Let's go, man. Let's go. Huge player.
That type of stuff. She knows, but the star players, she knows. They're synonymous. There's been a lot of good crossover pop culture-wise. We all know Steph, we all know LeBron, we all know Kevin Durant. That type of stuff. Luka is also one of those guys because he's one of the most successful young players we've ever seen.
5-time All-NBA player. This is a real guy. It's
and yeah, so we have tons of stuff. Let's get into some of the takes immediately because we're basically going to start off the show with this stuff. So our beloved Jerry Garcia has the Mavs fleece the Lakers.
Always comes in with the most serious and thought through and nuanced takes, so
yeah. He's obviously joking. Terrible. This is definitely one of the worst trades probably ever.
I can't
think of a worse trade.
We have another take about the trade. Can we read the second take about the trade and then kind of just get into our reactions?
Franklin Chubb has Nico Harrison sacrificed his reputation and endangered his own life to inspire NBA fans to dream. By demonstrating anything is possible, he will ultimately be judged as a hero. There is, what's really funny? That's a really good take from Franklin in that there is a bizarro world where this is actually kind of rings true because anything actually is possible now.
There is a timeline where they win or they make a title run with AD. It's not impossible. It's not a totally extreme possibility.
I think it's actually impossible.
I don't think it is. I think the West is kind of wide open. OKC is great. I think they're a regular season juggernaut, but they didn't make a single move at the deadline. I think they still have holes in their roster. I don't think there's some unstoppable playoff force. One thing goes wrong, you get a little luck. I think Dallas can make a. Do I think they're going to? Am I predicting that's going to happen? No. But is it on the table? Yeah.
I think what the thing is for me is you have Kyrie, who's always been the number 2.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis also is clearly the number two, right? You have two guys who are clearly, which is really funny, who have only won with LeBron James.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. And for someone, and also someone like Kyrie, who's only been successful with a guy who is similar in the type of offensive gravity with Luka, right? They made the finals last year. These two guys play off better. And now it's those two with Klay Thompson. Like
Cody Martin.
Cody Martin.
Yeah.
Like I just don't see it. What it's funny because as we're like Schwinn was always like, we need to stop dismissing Anthony Davis as a throw-in, which I guess is fair, but like I don't think it's the same level. They'll make the playoffs, right? Because like Anthony Davis is very good. Kyrie Irving is very good. They will make the playoffs. I don't think there's going to be any sort of run because those two guys just haven't done it historically as like their own team. So like I just don't.
I would not bet on it. I would not like predict that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that I'm not going to eliminate the possibility. So
I am.
Okay,
you heard it here. I'm eliminating the possibility. We'll see how that ages. All right. We have a couple takes from Stephen A. Smith for president. Oh God. Love the name. So if the trade you make stunned the entire basketball community and made them think it was fake, you have failed at everything. I agree. Like everyone thought it was fake. They thought it was a fake trade because why would you do it?
It's so stupid. Is there any comp? There's no comp, right? There's never been a deal that broke and everybody was like, "Oh, this must be fake." Nothing I can think of.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head because it's. Yeah. I don't think people realize how unprecedented this trade is because it's not like promising young player traded, right? Like it's not merely that, right? It's 5-time All NBA coming off a finals run, generational talent traded for the lesser player, right? Like it wasn't even like they're rebuilt, like it wasn't anything like that, right? It was ultimately like Nico Harrison, as he said publicly, there's no other teams involved, which the reporting is saying that's not true, but like he said on camera he only went to the Lakers, he wanted Anthony Davis, right? Like he said that, and that's insane to me. Absolutely insane.
Can I run you through a theory about this trade? So first I want to credit Harrison Fagan, who went on the Ball pod and brought this to me. But ever since I was heard about this theory, I've done some more digging. I've consulted some more people. I've brought in some other angles to this, and there are a lot of conspiracies about this trade. This is the one. Conspiracies. This is the one that I think has the strongest.
We're going to get into one in a second, but yeah, I want to hear this one.
Yeah, because I want to bring this one up before the one that I see the one that's coming, and I think this one is totally more realistic than the other one. The headline of this is that Jason Kidd is largely responsible, if not the most responsible person for this trade, not Nico Harrison. How does that sound to you?
It doesn't surprise me.
I think Jason Kidd and Luka never really hit it off as a partnership, and I think Jason Kidd has always been a my way or the highway type of coach. He is somebody that wants
kind of seen.
We've seen many, many times. He's kind of that way as a player too, if you go back to his playing career, but he is somebody that wants players that fit what he wants to do, and he is not going to adjust for players that have specific needs or do things their own way. And I think the fact that Luka kind of all the stuff that we're hearing and the stuff that's coming out, like Luka having his own set of trainers and Luka not doing the dieting thing and not doing all this practicing, whatever sort of like work ethic, conditioning, all that stuff. It feels like Luka kind of got some special treatment compared to all the rest of the Mavs. It sounded like there were some standards that he wasn't playing up to or living up to that all the other Mavs have to. And if they don't, there would be some consequences or something like that. And listen, like in this league, star players get treated differently than regular players. Like
they do.
It happens. It happens. Like, I'm sorry. That's not something that a coach can like complain about or threaten a trade for. But I think Kidd had kind of never really loved the way that Luka was treated or the things that Luka was able to get away with the Mavs. And I think this all kind of started this started as soon as Kidd was the coach, but when Mark Cuban sold his majority stake in this team, I think it was about a year ago or a little bit longer than a year ago. I think Kidd saw an avenue to finally voice his concerns and finally maybe take some action on the stuff that Luka had been doing for a long time.
Yeah, it's a power grab move.
Yeah, exactly. Luka and Cuban, great partnership, love each other. Cuban would have never traded Luka. But when Cuban sold this team, I think Kidd finally saw an avenue to be like, hey, maybe I can finally get what I want. Maybe I can get Luka out of here. And I think his plan was his plan A, his like dream scenario would be to trade Luka to Milwaukee for Giannis. I think Giannis is his guy. He coached Giannis. He loves Giannis. He's publicly stated how awesome his relationship is with Giannis and stuff like that. And I think there was reporting that lined up with this that the Mavs. I know Nico said that he didn't talk to any other teams. Like there was reporting that there was one other team that they talked to. I think it's pretty obvious that is Milwaukee. And I don't think
I would agree.
Yeah, I don't think those talks went far. Like that was kind of a hard no for Milwaukee. And then I think as soon as they got that no, I think he pivoted to AD, who is somebody that he's won a championship with. He has a great relationship with, and is like a kind of the opposite of a Luka as an offensive player, where he will just do things for the team and like play defense and not run like a heliocentric, everything is through me type of stuff. And like he's just a good personality fit with Kid. And I think that Kid had kind of been like greasing the wheels on this for a while, like months and months and months. But when Luka went out with the most recent injury and had the most recent, like, okay, he's going to be out for like a few weeks, I think that is when it was kind of like, all right, I'm putting the pedal to the metal on this. Like, we're getting Luka out of here. That also kind of lines up with the timeline of like, there was reporting that the first negotiations of this trade happened at like a coffee shop 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, did you see? Yeah.
I saw the photo. The photo came out of it. But if you look at the timeline, like that coffee shop meeting roughly lines up with when Luka was ruled out most recently with like the biggest injury that he had. It's actually like a week after he was ruled out. But I think when that injury happened, I think Kid kind of like went to Nico and was like, hey, we got to do this. We got to trade this guy. We got to do it for AD because, hey, listen, AD is also a Nico guy. He's a Kid guy. But I mean, obviously Nico is not like absolved of responsibility here by any means. But
yeah,
I really do think that Kid banged the table for this. Kid and him were in lockstep on this, and they wanted AD as their guy. And the third piece of this is I think Kyrie was pretty in on this too. I don't know if Kyrie and Luka's relationship was as bad as his relationship with Kid was, but like just the fact that Kyrie kind of came out and was like fine with it and is like, yeah, I'm gonna re-sign here. You know, I'm super happy to be here. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of fishy. Like this trade is awful. Like anybody who is in Kyrie's position should probably want to have Luka around. Like, isn't that what makes more sense? So the whole thing that like, oh, Nico acted alone and nobody knew about this. Like, no, I think as soon as Cuban sold his stake and kind of got out of here, I think there were a lot of people in the organization who didn't love Luka and wanted to make this type of move. And when he went down with this most recent injury, they kind of put this into some serious motion and they got it done, man. It's a wild thing, but you'll read this next theory. I buy the Kid theory a lot more than this.
This does make sense because when you think of it as Nico acted alone, because that's basically how it came off as, like as like early on in like this week, and everyone's like, that's insane, right? Like it's truly insane if it's just like this is like some rogue move. So there definitely had to have been a little more thought to it, because otherwise, like that, because no one would be on board. I think if it was truly like this rogue move, even like the coach and the players would be like, no, we're not doing this. So Stephen A. for president. The next one is this is all related. In conjunction with the Alderson's family, Nico Harrison is running a multi-year scheme to tank the Mavericks in Dallas so that the team will be moved to Las Vegas. This has been floated around.
I've seen
this. I don't think it makes sense. Wouldn't it be easier to just put the expansion team in Las Vegas?
If that's what's going to happen.
Idea,
the expansion team is going to Vegas. Yes.
Yeah, I don't see the idea of the Aldersons moving Dallas to Vegas and then an expansion team in Dallas. There's going to be a basketball team in Dallas, I think, regardless, right? So I don't think. I feel like it's more complicated to go that route than anything else. The gambling aspect is kind of interesting with it, because I think this could be fake news, but I think there have been reports that they are trying to push for specific like gambling stuff in the state of Texas.
That's very, very publicly out there. It's not yet.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know. I'm not citing anything specifically. Yeah. I try to be careful with what I say in my sources, unlike some people differently, but like, right, like, so there's things going on with that. I don't see it. I think it doesn't make sense. I don't think that one makes sense. But the last take from Stephen A. Smith for president goes, this shows us that Stephen A. Smith correctly removed Max Kellerman from First Take. So the context is back in 2019, Max Kellerman on First Take says, "It's insane that you have a generational talent, potential to be the best player in the world, and you trade him. I've never heard of the Dallas Mavericks trading Dirk." And this was in context to the Kristaps Porzingis trade from the Knicks to the Dallas Mavericks.
Dude.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, this little like symbiotic relationship between like, this is how like the Luka trade is what people were saying the Porzingis trade was.
Yeah, I've like heard this parallel drawn like way too many times in the past week. Like, people will be like, "Oh, how could the Mavs have ever done this?" And then like the Knicks haters are like, "Oh, the Knicks just did this with Porzingis like 5 years ago." And I'm like, no, that's not what happened actually, because Porzingis was not a 5-time All NBA player who took them to the finals and was like an all-star like for like 4 seasons or whatever the hell Luka has done. It's not even like they are not even
it's not even the same
calibers of a player away. It's not like it's not even the same league. It's not even the same like class at this. So that has no legs to it at all. But it's still wild.
Yeah, at the time, it was shocking at the time, right? It was a shock, like in terms of like, you know, the news coming out, it was shocking. But in terms of like the actual, I don't know, I guess like the story and everything around the situation and like the players involved, it really isn't the same thing. It never was. And it never, like, it turned out to like not be true. Like the Knicks actually turned out probably to benefit from it than anything else without having locking in Porzingis, especially just given like he hasn't been healthy like, since then. Like he hasn't been. So like it kind of worked out. I think what's kind of funny is in that trade, the Knicks, I don't know if Dallas was like holding off on it, but the Knicks did pick Dennis Smith over Jalen Brunson. Or like Dennis Smith.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm glad that happened. Like I don't think
isn't that kind of funny though to think about that like Jalen Brunson was there, right? Like he was also the young guard in that thing. It was just very funny to think about that he was on the roster then.
Had we gotten Jalen in that trade, like I don't think he would have been on the roster still.
I don't think he would have survived. I think that's an interesting what if.
Yeah, it's a really interesting what if. But I mean, I don't know. What is the timeline of like that trade was made in early 2019, and then like about a year later was when Leon came through. So like,
yes,
would Jalen have survived that year? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's interesting because like there were 2 young guards that were potentially available in this Porzingis trade. I don't know. Like I don't know if the Knicks actually were like, I want Dennis Smith, or the Mavs were like, no, we're giving you Dennis Smith. I don't know that, but it was interesting to kind of see that like Brunson could have been involved in that. And I think to kind of wrap things up on our free section, we're going to go from Franklin Chubb, which is, now the trade deadline is over, all you 5-out chumps are going to look real foolish when Mitch gets back and Cat is restored being a part-time power forward. Zach, what are your thoughts on Mitch coming back? So Mitch survived the trade deadline. I think
he keeps doing it. He keeps
doing it. I think a lot of Knicks fans, at least the Knicks fans, at least that in my thing, because I'm not on like certain social media platforms as much anymore, were, I don't want to say disappointed, but like I think there was definitely like hopes that like the Knicks finally can move on from Mitchell Robinson, but he does survive. And he is apparently supposed to come back sooner rather than later now. Was it partially practicing, right? Like he's whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
He's probably going to help. Honestly, like he is probably going to help.
It'd be huge.
I do think it's going to be helpful. He's not like the exact need that the team really needs. Dylan Wright is going to be that. He's going to be our savior for that. But I do think having a mixture of like, in case Towns gets into foul trouble, Mitch is there. The Knicks have been successful playing with a center like Mitch, so like it's not out of the realm. Like it's a good kind of like
it's just a different it's a different look. It's a much different look to throw at teams when something's not working or something. Just need something different to throw at a team when you're in a close game or something like that.
Right.
This take though from Franklin Chopper, he's like, all you 5-out chumps are gonna look real foolish. Like, two things can be true. Like, the 5-out thing can be great, but also having like a 4-out lineup plus Mitch is still great. And in fact, having both of those things is probably the greatest. And like being able to kind of flip flop between both different looks and deploy different things in different settings and stuff like that. So that's going to be awesome. I think it worked really well with Minnesota last year with Gobert and Towns. I've also seen a couple tweets being like, "Oh, Towns' production's going to be bad. Like Mitch is going to take touches away from like no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Like it's going to be okay. I think they will." Go ahead.
I was going to say Mitch is just going to play defense and grab rebounds. Yes. That's it.
He does not need to score. Like we have plenty of scoring on this team. He will be able to create possessions for us. It'll be great. He'll be creating extra opportunities for us. But
yes,
we're not going to give him the ball and be like, "Yo, cook. Like,
go
post up and do a hook shot." Like it's not going to happen. So
no, not happening. But it's going to be nice to have a different look because I think this team desperately needs a different lineup.
Dude, I'm also just like, for how long have we had our backup center be like 6'9"? Like I'm just sick of like these 6'9" centers like Precious and Sims, who are both like good players in their own regard, but like,
they've been holding it down.
Yeah, just having somebody who's 7 foot, maybe 7'1" in shoes is like it's a huge different look, and like just having that rim protection threat is major. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I don't think he's surviving the offseason though. I think this is like the last Mitch run. I think that's what's going to happen moving forward. This is it. So for you Mitchell Robinson fans, I would say cherish this now because I don't think he's lasting after the season. Okay. That's going to be the end of the free preview. Again, go to patreon.com/Strickland. Subscribe to the $6 tier to hear the whole episode. And for the patrons, we will see you on the other side.